Greetings citizens of Australia. We are anonymous. Welcome to the New World Order. We warned you this was coming. Some of you laughed, called us conspiracy theorists and made silly little memes with tinfoil hats on random people and spread them on social media. Looks like the joke is on you now. We have said it many times. You will become a police state. Your freedoms will be gone, and you would not even be able to leave your homes without permission. Not even to go to work. And it is all thanks to the pandemic, coronavirus, or COVID-19. Make no mistake, coronavirus is very real. It is an engineered virus, which makes it a biological weapon. At the time of this video there is a reported approximate 300,000 deaths worldwide, if we are to believe the governments and fake news media, which is difficult considering they lie too much. Considering our round Earth has billions of people on it, that isn't even a drop in the proverbial bucket. You are all being lied to by the governments. This piece of scientific engineering was originally created in the 1960s, in North America by scientists when they took infectious bronchitis virus samples from chickens and 2 samples from human patients with the common cold, and mixed them together. Other members of this virus family have since been identified, including SARS in 2003, HCOVNL63 in 2004, HKU1 in 2005, MERS in 2012, and SARS-CoV-2. Most of these have involved serious respiratory tract infections. The truth is, your actual risk of infection is very low. So long as you suffer from no respiratory conditions, don't live like a filthy pig, and you live a clean lifestyle. Here is a little interesting something from the 1980s. This virus was engineered in China's RDN laboratories in Wuhan City, also giving it the name, Wuhan 400. It was given this name because it is the 400th viable strain of man-made microorganisms, created at that particular research center alone. The media has whipped the world into a frenzy and driven people completely stupid. Stupid people are controlled by fear, and act primarily on impulse with no rational thought process. Shopping center shelves are emptied out before the vulnerable can get there, and these same stupid people are literally fighting over essential items required for everyday living. Such people who do these things are the blind sheep, living in complete subservience to their master, which is the system. These people are so blind that the truth is offensive to them, and they will fight to protect the system because they are totally reliant on it. Meanwhile, the governments of the world pass unjust laws in the name of containing the spread of their manufactured creation. At the same time the Australian Parliament are doing their usual treason and sneaking through even more illegal laws without referendum. Such as these. Literally overnight, everyone lives in a police state. Those in power control all sporting events, concerts, jobs, family gatherings, whether or not you can leave your house, and with the new unlawful laws they passed through their corrupt legal system, without telling anybody, or getting permission from the people, you will be fined upwards of 20 grand, or imprisoned for disobeying. Once the pandemic hit, food, sanitary products and basic living essentials were all gone from supermarket shelves overnight, due to the greed of the sheeple. And international travel was banned as well, which is understandable to contain the spread of the virus. The Chinese government, and the global elite should not be allowed to rewrite history to cover up their inhuman barbarism. Here is some leaked video from China. We don't know what they are spraying into the air, but it can't be good. On a side note, isn't it amazing how all that protesting in China stopped overnight as well? The Chinese government must be held accountable. Make of that what you will. Right now, on medical scientific terms, coronavirus is low level, but is somewhat getting worse, but no worse than the average flu, which, funnily enough, also seems to hit everyone in Australia at this time of year. Talk about impeccable timing. When it goes mild, The destruction of lung stem cells it causes will make it very hard for patients to recover, and we will start to see dead bodies in the streets to the point where authorities would not be able to dispose of them fast enough. Now that would be a true pandemic, and not this fake plandemic being perpetrated by the global elite, and gleefully enforced by our corrupt government. This plandemic is nothing more than make-believe bullshit invented by people placed in power by the elite who ignore all real facts and actual scientific data because it doesn't fit their agenda. The global elite perpetuated the development of the virus to make all this happen. They need to usher in the New World Order. They want more money. It's always about the money. And now, they will profit from it by selling you the vaccines. You will have no choice. You will be forced to get your vaccine under threat of punishment. Every time they make a virus, they make the vaccine as well. That way they maintain control over the number of deaths that occur before making the vaccine available. The laws were ready to go and put in place long before this manufactured and fake pandemic happened. And on another side note, isn't it amazing how those crying for open borders are now screaming for them to be closed? Oh, the hypocrisy and the irony. Don't make the mistake of thinking the Prime Minister letting people access their superannuation money earlier is support. It is the exact opposite. The government is actually forcing workers to raid their retirement funds early, to fill the void of government inaction now. One of the core jobs of the government is supposed to be to give security to its citizens in time of emergency. Not the other way around. Social distancing bans are actually legal now. They are, in reality, unlawful. Remember that laws can only be passed with referendum. They won't remove these laws and will use them as an excuse to silence anyone who disagrees with them or their agendas in the future. Just wait, watch and see. It's their track record to date. Now that the Australian government has forced people to self-isolate by use of fear tactics as well as unclear and confusing rules and threats of fines and imprisonment, people no longer have incomes. Over 1 million people nationwide have lost their jobs. The government's response to that was to waive the usual Centrelink waiting times to access the new job seeker payment. When this all started, the system was overloaded in less than an hour, rendering it unusable for the entire nation. The government is extremely inept to even allow this to happen, and is further proof that the Australian welfare system is designed to treat people like shit, and is extremely badly managed by total idiots who have zero care factor, and wouldn't know their backside from their mouth since they talk so much of it. This is clear and undeniable proof that inept politicians should not be in power, and need to be sacked. And now things are getting even more interesting. We believe there is no such thing as coincidence. Well, maybe once. But multiple coincidences? Would you like to see clear proof that this fake pandemic was planned according to Agenda 21? Just take a look at this. This is from 2013. And here is something else. How interesting. Both logos aside from the color are identical. The game, Resident Evil, calls it the C-Virus. The world calls it the coronavirus. Interesting. One of the game's lead characters is named Chris Redfield. The real-world director for the Center for Disease Control, otherwise known as CDC, has the same surname. The game's storyline setting takes place in an American city called Raccoon City. Other nations spell raccoon with only one C. If you spell raccoon with only one C, you can make the anagram, corona. Here is something else. The Simpsons have accurately predicted the future, again. And here we have Nostradamus predicting these events as well. And here, from 1981 we have this little gem. Isn't it amazing? Agenda 21 skeptics can deny this all they like. But it's happening, and happening now. The media are nothing more than television terrorists following the New World Order agenda. So are all governments, and so are the United Nations. Governments are currently using the fake news media to create hoax videos of mass shootings, stabbings, and other violent public acts, in order to disarm the people, and it is working. This is all part of the mass depopulation part of Agenda 21. Disarm the people so they can't fight back without dying in large numbers. If the world was truly in the middle of a pandemic, as they say it is, people would be dropping dead in the streets by the many thousands daily. It simply is not happening anywhere, not even in China. What the media is showing you is merely the government trying to convince you that it's real, but in reality, it's all for show. No TV news network has any footage at all of people dying in the streets in any nation that they themselves have recorded. Everything is fake, and carefully orchestrated. And yes, we repeat ourselves so that the dumb sheeple may have the smallest, faint hope, of opening their eyes and waking up. We told you earlier that vaccinations will be forced upon you all. That is true. What else is true, is the vaccinations contain the virus itself. You're better off playing Russian roulette. Do you want to risk it? And remember, it's not okay to shake hands or give your best mate a high five. Yet the government says it's perfectly okay for you to sneeze into your elbow, and then touch elbows instead. Overnight, those in power have taken away your freedom, and are lording it over you like an evil nanny. Do you see now how easily they did this? President Donald Trump optimistically says America will be back to normal by April 12th. Sounds like he knows something we don't. So, what's next? Bill Gates at Microsoft wants to implant everybody with a forced digital ID. It's known as ID 2020. The Bible calls it the mark of the beast. Sheeple will accept this willingly. Show them the truth and they will deny it, and even become violent in order to protect the system they live under comfortably. The entire world has the illusion of freedom. The reality is we are all free-range humans living in a giant cage called debt, and are slaves to the group who control it, aka, the elite. Soon the people will start to rise up against the tyranny that's oppressing them. When that happens, we will see United Nations troops being called in to deal with everyone indiscriminately. Disobey, and you die. They will shoot you dead for even looking at them the wrong way. It will be martial law for all, with no age limits. The time to rise up against these tyrants is now. And quickly. Do nothing, and you lose everything. We are anonymous. Your government is corrupt. Do not forgive them. Do not forget them. Make them expect you.